Hi, I'm Weston. The day I turned 40 was supposed to be special. At least that's what Melissa, my wife of 12 years, had promised. Instead, I spent it alone in our empty house, ordering takeout and watching reruns while my calls went straight to voicemail. Hey man, happy birthday! My friend Derek's voice crackled through the phone the next morning. How was the big day? Melissa do something special? I sighed, adjusting my tie for work. That's the thing, she didn't. Said she had a work emergency and disappeared all day. Didn't even come home last night. Wait, what? Derek's tone shifted. That doesn't sound right. Melissa's been talking about your birthday for weeks. Talking about it with who? I stopped, my coffee mug halfway to my lips. Everyone, man. At the gym, she mentioned some big surprise. Even asked me what your favorite whiskey was last month. The conversation with Derek lingered in my mind all day at the office. Karen, my assistant, noticed my distraction during our morning briefing. Weston, you haven't heard a word I've said, have you? She tapped her pen against her notepad. I thought you'd be in a better mood after your birthday bash. I looked up sharply. What bash? Karen's eyes widened. Oh, I just assumed. Didn't your wife throw you a party? Tara from accounting mentioned something about an invitation. Tara got an invitation to my birthday party? The room suddenly felt 10 degrees cooler. Maybe I misunderstood, Karen backpedaled, shifting uncomfortably. You know how office gossip works? That evening, Melissa was home acting completely normal, as if disappearing on my birthday was nothing unusual. She was chopping vegetables when I walked in, humming to herself. Hey, birthday boy. Well, belated now. Sorry again about yesterday. That client emergency was insane. She didn't look up from the cutting board. Funny thing, I said, setting my briefcase down carefully. People at work seemed to think I had a party. The knife paused momentarily. That's weird. Who said that? Karen mentioned Tara got an invitation to something. Melissa laughed, but it sounded forced. That's ridiculous. Maybe they confused you with Wesley in HR? I heard he had a thing last weekend. I might have believed her if the mail hadn't arrived at that exact moment. I flipped through the stack mindlessly until a bill from Mountain View Events caught my eye. I opened it while Melissa was occupied with dinner. What's this charge for $4,300 from Mountain View Events? I asked, keeping my voice neutral. The sound of the knife hitting the cutting board stopped. What are you talking about? This bill, for services rendered on my birthday, for an event I apparently wasn't invited to. Melissa turned, her face composed but her knuckles white around the knife handle. That's just a mistake. I'll call them tomorrow. Interesting, because Derek mentioned you were planning something big, and Karen said Tara had an invitation. I laid the bill on the counter between us. Want to try again? You're being paranoid, she snapped. I was stuck at work all day with the Johnson account. Call my office if you don't believe me. Later that night, I did exactly that. And what her colleague Mark told me changed everything. Melissa, he sounded confused. She took the day off weeks ago. Said it was your birthday. We haven't had any emergencies with the Johnson account. That project wrapped up last month. The next morning, I called Mountain View Events directly. Yes, we handled the Pearson event, the manager confirmed cheerfully. Beautiful party at your lake house property. The bartenders mentioned it was quite the success. Around 50 guests, I believe. 50 guests. At our lake house. On my birthday. Without me. Could you email me an itemized receipt? I seem to have misplaced mine, I managed to say. When the receipt arrived, a name listed under additional host made my blood run cold. Jason Winters. My wife's college ex-boyfriend who had supposedly moved across the country years ago. I sat at my desk staring at my computer screen when my phone buzzed with a text from a number I didn't recognize. Sorry I missed your B-Day party. Your wife said you were sick. Hope you're feeling better. Mike from accounting. I forwarded the message to Derek. Call me now, he texted back immediately. She's been seeing someone else, Derek said bluntly when I called. I didn't want to say anything without proof, but now, this party thing is beyond suspicious. I rubbed my temples. I need to know what happened at that lake house. I know someone who was there, Derek admitted reluctantly. Amanda from your wife's yoga class. She might talk to you. Amanda agreed to meet me at a coffee shop downtown that afternoon. She fidgeted with her cup, clearly uncomfortable. I didn't know it wasn't a surprise party until halfway through, she explained, her eyes not meeting mine. Everyone was drinking, having a good time. And then I overheard someone ask where you were. And what did Melissa say? Amanda winced. That you two were separated but keeping it quiet. She said the party was to celebrate her new beginning. My stomach dropped. With Jason Winters? Her eyes widened. You know about him? I know he was co-hosting my birthday party while I sat alone at home. Weston, there's more. Amanda leaned forward. They were taking pictures. With your things. Wearing your clothes. Drinking your whiskey collection. Like it was some kind of joke. Did anyone else seem uncomfortable with this? I asked, my voice tight. Your friend Claire left immediately when she realized you weren't coming. She seemed pretty upset with Melissa. I called Claire next. Unlike Amanda, she was direct and furious. It was disgusting, Weston, she fumed. I thought we were surprising you, but when I asked when you were arriving, Melissa laughed and said you weren't invited to your own party. That guy Jason was wearing your vintage leather jacket, the one your dad gave you. The one that was supposedly lost during our move last year, I said quietly. People were going through your things, Weston, taking photos in your study. Someone was even wearing your watches. When I objected, Melissa said you owed her after how boring the marriage had been. I felt sick. Did anyone else leave when you did? A few people. Most stayed, though. Free booze and drama, you know? But get this. Jason's wife showed up toward the end. Jason's married? Apparently. From what I heard, it got ugly. She tracked his phone location and found him there. Security had to get involved. This was getting more complicated by the minute. I needed to see exactly what had happened at my house. The lake house has security cameras, I told Derek when I called him back. Installed them last year after the break-in next door. Can you access them remotely? Yes, but Melissa knows the password. I paused. Unless she forgot I set up backups to my private cloud. That evening, while Melissa was working late again, I accessed the security footage. 4 hours of video confirmed everything and revealed worse. The party hadn't just been a betrayal, it had been destructive. Guests had damaged property, broken into my private office, and rifled through personal documents. And Melissa had encouraged it all, laughing as Jason wore my father's watch and jacket. The confrontation between Jason and his wife turned violent on camera. He shoved her against a wall when she discovered them together. Most guests had cleared out by then, but Melissa was clearly visible trying to help Jason restrain the woman. I was forwarding clips to my email when my phone rang. It was an unfamiliar number. Is this Weston Pearson? A woman asked. Yes. Who's this? Rebecca Winters, Jason's wife. I think we need to talk. Rebecca met me at a diner the next morning. Despite her composed demeanor, I couldn't help noticing the fading bruise near her temple. Jason did that to you at my lake house, didn't he? I asked. Yes, she said, touching it briefly. I filed assault charges against him, but that's not why I asked to meet you. She slid her phone across the table. Jason and Melissa have been planning this for over a year. These emails detail everything. I scrolled through message after message outlining their scheme. Plans to access my retirement accounts, sell inherited properties, and a timeline for divorce that would maximize financial outcomes. They've been systematically planning to clean you out, Rebecca said, and Jason mentioned a storage unit in Melissa's name where they've been moving your things. My stomach turned. Things like what? Personal documents, family heirlooms, anything they could use or sell. I called my bank immediately after our meeting and discovered Melissa had withdrawn $42,000 from our joint account. I froze everything and contacted my lawyer. That evening, Detective Harlow arrived at my door. Mr. Pearson, we're investigating the assault that occurred at your property, he explained. But we've uncovered something more concerning. When we arrested Jason Winters, we found documents with your personal information, financial records, copies of your signature, even your social security number. Identity theft. My voice sounded hollow. It appears so. We'd like to review your security footage and examine the storage unit Rebecca Winters mentioned. After viewing the lake house footage, Detective Harlow's expression darkened. This is extensive. We're looking at conspiracy, fraud, identity theft, and grand larceny. When Melissa finally came home, she froze at the sight of the detective in our living room. What's going on? She demanded, her voice unnaturally high. I know everything, Melissa, I said quietly. The party, Jason, the storage unit, the $42,000 you withdrew. Her eyes darted between us. You're spying on me? Care to explain why we found your husband's personal documents in Jason Winters' possession? Detective Harlow asked calmly. Or the storage unit full of Mr. Pearson's belongings? Her facade cracked. Weston was never supposed to find out until everything was finalized. Finalized? I echoed. Jason and I had a plan, she snapped. Do you know how boring you are, Weston? How predictable? 12 years of watching you just exist? So you decided to steal from me on my birthday? I deserve more, she insisted. After supporting your career, living by your rules, ma'am, Detective Harlow interrupted. I need to inform you that this conversation may be used as evidence. You can't arrest me for taking what I'm entitled to in my own marriage. Actually, we can, he replied. The charges include conspiracy to commit fraud, identity theft, and grand larceny. She lunged toward me suddenly. You pathetic. Detective Harlow stepped between us as officers entered from the hallway. Melissa Pearson, you're under arrest for assault, he stated as they restrained her. We'll be executing a search warrant for this residence and the storage unit immediately. 2 months later, I sat in my lawyer Catherine's office reviewing the final divorce papers. The judge's ruling is exceptionally favorable, she explained. Given the criminal charges and evidence of financial misconduct, Melissa has no claim to any assets she attempted to appropriate. What about the lake house damages? I asked. Her insurance will cover repairs plus additional restitution. Derek, who'd accompanied me for support, shook his head. Still can't believe what they found in that storage unit. The discovery had been shocking, not just my personal belongings, but evidence of their larger scheme. They'd gathered financial documents, family heirlooms, and even created fake evidence they planned to use against me in divorce proceedings. Jason accepted a plea deal, Catherine continued. 5 years for the assault, fraud, and conspiracy charges. Melissa's still fighting it, but with his testimony against her, she's facing significant jail time. Karen arrived with lunch for everyone. She'd become an unexpected pillar of support through everything. How are you holding up? She asked, setting down the bags. Better than I expected, I admitted. The lake house repairs start next week. We've got a whole crew ready to help, Claire added as she joined us. No Melissa sympathizers allowed. I don't know what I would have done without all of you, I said. That's what real friends are for, Derek replied. Not the 50 fake ones who attended your non-birthday party. Catherine gathered her papers. One last thing. Melissa's requested to speak with you before her next court date. What would you do? I asked. I wouldn't give her the satisfaction, Claire said immediately. I considered it for a moment. I think I need to see her, to end this properly. The following week, I sat across from Melissa in the visitation room. She looked diminished, her confidence gone. Thank you for coming, she began. I wanted to explain. I didn't come for explanations or apologies, I interrupted. Then why did you come? To tell you that despite everything you took, you didn't take what matters most. My self-respect, my real friendships, my ability to trust again. I made a mistake, she insisted. We could still... No. What you did wasn't a mistake. It was calculated betrayal that you would have continued if you hadn't been caught. I stood up. I didn't come for reconciliation. I came to say goodbye. 12 years means nothing to you? It meant everything to me. That's why it hurt. But I'm not letting that hurt define my future. 3 months later, I celebrated 40 and a half surrounded by real friends at my restored lake house. As we raised glasses on the deck, Derek proposed a toast to Weston, who lost a wife but found his strength. Later, Karen joined me at the dock as sunset painted the lake golden. Any regrets? She asked quietly. I considered carefully. About my marriage ending? No. About not seeing the warning signs sooner? Maybe. But mostly I'm grateful. For what? For finding out who was real and who wasn't. I turned to her. Have you ever had a moment when something terrible revealed something valuable? She smiled. I'm starting to... What would you do if the people closest to you weren't who they claimed to be? When would you notice? And what would you do after? These are questions I never expected to answer at 40, but life rarely follows our expectations. Sometimes it's what breaks that shows us what matters.